Have you ever noticed how life has a way of teaching us the hardest lessons when we least expect them? One of those lessons comes with age. It's the realization that the people we thought we could lean on, our children, siblings, or even close friends, aren't always able to be there the way we imagined. It's not because they don't care. Often, it's because they're caught up in their own battles, their own schedules, or their own health struggles. This realization can feel like a shockwave. You wake up one day and ask yourself, if I really needed someone, who could I call right now? And the silence that follows that question can be heavier than we'd like to admit. But here's the surprising truth. While it stings at first, that silence isn't the end of the story. In fact, it can be the beginning of something far more powerful, learning that the strongest support often doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. This video is not about bitterness, loneliness, or resignation. It's about wisdom, clarity, and strength. It's about shifting your perspective from, who's going to take care of me, to, how can I take care of myself no matter what? Because when you think about it, the greatest gift in your 70s and beyond is freedom, the ability to live with dignity and independence, without feeling like a burden to anyone. So let's dive into the very first and perhaps most underestimated pillar of support you can give yourself: physical independence. Why physical independence matters more than you think. When we think of support, most of us picture a loved one offering a helping hand. But let's be honest, what if that helping hand isn't available? What if the call goes unanswered? That's where physical independence steps in. It's the kind of support that's always present, always reliable, and always in your control. If you're willing to nurture it, physical independence is more than just being able to walk or get out of bed. It's about owning your freedom. It's about being able to open the front door, breathe in the morning air, and know you got there by yourself. It's about reaching for your favorite cup in the kitchen cabinet without waiting for someone to fetch it for you. It's about sitting down at the table to enjoy a meal you prepared with your own hands. These simple acts may not seem extraordinary to someone younger, but past 70 they're a declaration of strength. Every step you take without assistance whispers, I'm still here. I'm still capable. The psychology behind movement. Why is physical independence so important? Because it goes far beyond the body, it protects the mind. When you're mobile, you're not just moving your muscles, you're strengthening your confidence. You're sending yourself a daily reminder that you're not helpless. And that message is priceless. On the other hand, when movement becomes difficult and you rely too much on others, something shifts inside. Many older adults quietly carry the fear of becoming a burden. They decline invitations, stop planning outings, and hesitate to try new things, not because they've lost interest, but because they're afraid they won't be able to keep up. That's not really aging, it's shrinking. And you don't deserve to live that way. Your body listens more to your actions than your age. Every time you move, stretch, or walk, you're teaching your body to keep going. The moment you stop, it listens to that too. So the question becomes, which message do you want your body to hear? Small habits that build big strength. The good news is that staying physically independent after 70 doesn't mean running marathons or lifting heavy weights. It means consistency in small habits that protect your joints, maintain your balance, and strengthen your muscles just enough to keep you steady. Stretch daily. Even 5 minutes in the morning can loosen stiffness and prepare your body for the day. Walk regularly. 15 minutes around the block or even down a hallway keeps circulation strong and legs dependable. Use resistance bands or light weights. These simple tools can help maintain muscle strength without straining your body. Prioritize balance. Practice standing on one leg near a chair for support. Balance is often overlooked until a fall happens, and then it's too late. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about moving just a little more today than you did yesterday. Every step counts. A real-life inspiration. Let me share a story with you. A man named Walter, age 79, lives in a small town in Texas. He uses a cane, but every morning without fail he goes for a walk around his block. Rain, shine, or cold winds, Walter shows up for himself. I once asked him why he's so committed to this routine. His answer was simple. The day I stop walking is the day I start waiting for help, for company, for someone to do for me what I could have done for myself. I don't want to wait. I want to live. His stride isn't fast and his legs aren't as steady as they used to be, but he still drives to the store, climbs the porch steps of his house, and tends to his small garden. He does it all with pride, not because he's invincible but because he refuses to surrender his independence. That's the beauty of physical independence. It doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. The emotional payoff. Here's something most people don't realize. Mobility isn't just about avoiding wheelchairs or hospital visits. It's about emotional peace. Every time you can make your own cup of tea, walk into your yard, or take yourself to the bathroom without calling for help, you reinforce your dignity. You remind yourself that you're still capable of shaping your life. That kind of confidence is priceless. It means fewer feelings of shame, fewer worries about being a burden, and more moments where you can simply enjoy being alive. and the ripple effect is huge. When you feel stronger in your body, you think more clearly, sleep better, and even handle stress with more grace. A gentle challenge for you. If you've been feeling stiff lately or if your energy isn't what it used to be, don't criticize yourself. Don't say, "I'm too old for this." Instead, take one small step. Stretch your arms while waiting for the kettle to boil. Walk an extra lap down your hallway. Do a few gentle leg lifts while sitting in your chair, because every small effort builds a foundation, and that foundation will walk beside you, holding you steady, no matter who else is around. That's the first source of true support after 70: physical independence. It's the one thing that can't be taken from you if you keep nurturing it day by day. Family may or may not be there, but your legs, your strength, and your balance, those can remain your most loyal companions. Have you ever noticed that when people talk about support after the age of 70, they immediately think of children, relatives, or someone else outside of themselves? But the truth is, the very first and strongest pillar of support in your old age is not your son, not your daughter, not your wealth. It's your own health. Think about it. If you have money but no health, can you really enjoy it? If you have children but you're constantly bedridden, can you truly spend quality time with them? The reality is that after 70, the body becomes either your best friend or your worst enemy, and the foundation of this friendship is built much earlier in life. We live in a world where most of us ignore our health until it starts to fade. We eat recklessly, avoid exercise, and think we're invincible. But every small unhealthy habit is like a loan we're borrowing from our future self. When we cross 70, the loan comes due, with heavy interest. Now imagine this. You wake up in the morning at 72. Your joints are stiff, but you can still walk because you took care of your body years ago. You can prepare your own breakfast, enjoy a walk in the park, and maybe even travel. Compare this with another 72-year-old who neglected his health. He can barely get out of bed, is dependent on medications, and needs others for even the simplest tasks. Which version would you prefer to be? That's why the first real support in life after 70 is your health, and this is the one area where no child, no sibling, no friend can take your place. They can help you, yes, but they can't carry your pain, your fatigue, your sickness. Only you can protect your health, and the work starts long before your 70th birthday. Now, let's go deeper into this. What exactly makes health such a crucial support? First, health gives you independence. Nothing feels heavier than being dependent on someone for basic needs. Even a glass of water feels like a burden if you constantly need to ask someone else for it. With good health, you stay in control. You choose what to eat, when to move, and how to live. Second, health gives you confidence. A strong body supports a strong mind. When you feel fit, you feel capable. You can meet friends, join community events, or even continue light work if you choose. Instead of isolating yourself, you stay connected. Third, health gives you peace of mind. Think of all the hospital visits, medications, and bills that come with poor health. They don't just drain your pocket, they drain your spirit. Good health reduces stress, for you and for your family. But here's the big question. How can someone ensure this pillar of support stays strong even after 70? The answer lies in 3 golden habits. Balanced diet. Your food is not just fuel, it's medicine. Simple home-cooked meals, fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and enough water can protect you better than the most expensive treatments. Remember, after 70, your body is a reflection of everything you've eaten over decades. Regular movement. Exercise doesn't have to mean lifting weights or running marathons. Even daily walking, stretching, or light yoga keeps your body flexible. The worst thing after 70 is not weakness, it's stiffness. And movement is the cure for that. Rest and stress management. Sleep is the most underrated medicine. Quality rest keeps your heart, brain, and immune system strong. Add to that a calm mind, through prayer, meditation, or hobbies, and you've built yourself a fortress of health. Let me give you a story here. There was a man named Ahmed. In his youth, he was always busy making money. Food meant fast meals, exercise was a waste of time, and sleep was optional. By the time he turned 70, he was rich but fragile. His children loved him, but most of their time went into managing his hospital trips. On the other hand, his neighbor, Mr. Salman, wasn't as wealthy. But he was careful with his diet, walked daily, and kept his stress low. At 72, he was still riding his bicycle around the neighborhood, smiling and living fully. Who do you think had more real support in old age? See, the irony is that most people spend their youth chasing wealth for their future security. But the actual security comes from your body, not your bank account. Because if your health fails, your money will only be spent trying to repair what's already broken. So, the first support, your health, is something you need to invest in right now, no matter your age. If you're still young, congratulations, you have time to prepare. If you're already over 50, don't worry, it's never too late to start. Small, consistent habits can still make a massive difference. And when you cross that age of 70, you'll thank yourself. You won't need to wait for your children to visit to feel alive. You won't be counting days in hospitals. Instead, you'll be living, independent, confident, and at peace. Because remember this, your health is not just your body. It is your freedom, your dignity, and your first true source of support in old age. When people think about aging, they often say children will take care of me, but here's the reality: financial stability is the second strongest pillar of support after 70. Because in old age, even love feels incomplete without financial security. Think about it for a moment. If you want good health care, you need money. If you want independence, you need money. If you want to enjoy small comforts, like traveling, eating well, or pursuing hobbies, you need money. And if you don't have it, you become dependent. Not because people don't love you, but because you've lost the ability to manage your life on your own. Money after 70 is not about luxury, it's about freedom. The freedom to make choices, the freedom to avoid being a burden, and the freedom to live with dignity. Why finances matter more than ever after 70. At a younger age, you can still work, start a business, or recover from a loss. But after 70, your options shrink. You can't rely on physical energy the same way. You can't always restart. That's why financial planning before old age is not optional, it's essential. And let's be honest, children may love you, but they have their own responsibilities, families, careers, expenses. Depending entirely on them is not only unfair to them but also unfair to you. Because nothing feels heavier than waiting for someone else to give you pocket money, or to decide what you can and cannot afford. Financial independence means you can pay your bills, afford your medicines, and maybe even treat your grandchildren without hesitation. It gives you respect, not only in the eyes of others but in your own. The role of money in mental peace. Here's something most people ignore. Financial stress directly affects mental peace. Imagine lying awake at night, worrying about how to pay rent, medicine, or even groceries. Compare that to someone who knows their basic needs are covered. The difference in peace of mind is priceless. When you're financially stable, you don't just survive, you thrive. You can focus on health, relationships, and spirituality. Without money, even small joys start to feel like luxuries. How to build this support system? So, how can someone ensure that finances become their reliable support after 70? Here are some practical steps. Save early, save consistently. Don't wait for a big amount. Even small savings grow over decades. The mistake most people make is thinking they'll start saving once they earn more. But time is the real wealth. Invest wisely. Bank accounts are safe, but they don't always grow. Investments, whether in property, retirement plans, or even small businesses, create long-term security. But the key is low risk, steady growth. At 70, safety matters more than high returns. Control spending. Financial independence doesn't just come from income. It also comes from wise spending. Living within your means ensures you don't fall into debt, especially in later years. Emergency fund. Life is unpredictable. Medical emergencies, accidents, or sudden needs can come anytime. An emergency fund means you don't have to beg or borrow. A story of two families. Let me share a real-world comparison. Mr. Rashid worked all his life but never saved. He believed his children would care for him. When he turned 70, his children did love him, but they were struggling with their own expenses, schools, rent, and daily costs. Slowly, Rashid became financially dependent on them. Every little thing from medicine to clothes had to be asked for. And although his children respected him, he felt humiliated. His confidence disappeared. Now look at Mr. Kareem. He wasn't rich either, but he saved a small portion of his income every month. By 70, he had a modest savings account, a small property for rent, and no debt. He never had to ask his children for money. In fact, he sometimes gave his grandchildren gifts from his own pocket. His children respected him even more because he never became a burden. Who do you think lived with more dignity? The true value of money after 70. Remember, money is not everything. But in old age, money protects you from two things: dependence and disrespect. Dependence, because you don't have to rely on others for basic needs. Disrespect, because society often values people based on what they can give, not just who they are. Financial independence keeps your self-respect intact. And let's be clear, money doesn't mean luxury cars or mansions. Even a stable pension, rental income, or savings account can provide enough security to give you peace. What if someone didn't prepare early? You might be wondering, what about people who didn't plan or save before? Is it too late? No, it's never too late. Even after 50 or 60, small changes can help. Downsizing your lifestyle, avoiding debt, or starting a part-time income stream can still improve stability. Some people even find creative ways, like using skills to teach, freelance, or rent out unused property. The key is to focus on stability, not luxury. So, the second true support after 70 is your finances. Health keeps you strong, but money keeps you independent. Together, they give you dignity, freedom, and peace of mind because remember, love from your children feels purest when it is not mixed with dependence. And the best gift you can give your future self is financial stability. When most people think about relationships in old age, they imagine children and grandchildren. And yes, they are important. But here's a truth very few realize. After 70, the relationships that support you most are often not your immediate family, but your circle of friends, neighbors, and community. Why? Because children grow up, move away, and get busy with their own lives. They love you, but their availability is limited. Your neighbors, your close friends, your social connections, these are the ones who are physically present when you need someone to talk to, laugh with, or ask for quick help. The power of friendships in old age. Friendship is not about age, it's about connection. A cup of tea with a friend who understands you can sometimes heal more than medicine. After 70, when days feel long and loneliness creeps in, friends bring color back into life. Think about it. When you were young, you had colleagues, classmates, social gatherings. But as you age, your world gets smaller. If you don't nurture friendships, old age can feel like an endless silence. But if you do, every day has meaning. There's a saying, a friend doubles your joy and halves your sorrow. At 70, that becomes more true than ever. Neighbors, the silent guardians. Neighbors are another overlooked support system. Imagine you fall ill suddenly or need urgent help. Who will reach you faster? Your child who lives 2 cities away, or the neighbor next door? Good relationships with neighbors create a safety net. They check on you, share food, keep an eye on your home, and sometimes even accompany you to appointments. In many cases, neighbors become like extended family. Unfortunately, many people ignore building these bonds. They close their doors, keep to themselves, and later complain about loneliness. But the truth is, community relationships are built with small gestures, sharing food, offering help, greeting with warmth. These small acts create lifelong bonds. The role of community and social groups. Beyond neighbors and friends, communities and social groups are a huge source of support. Mosques, temples, churches, clubs, or even hobby groups. These are places where you find belonging. When you attend a religious gathering, join a walking club, or participate in a local group, you stay connected. You meet people who share your values and interests. This prevents isolation, which is one of the biggest challenges after 70. Studies show that people who stay socially active live longer and healthier lives. Because social bonds don't just heal loneliness, they strengthen the mind, reduce stress, and even protect against memory decline. A tale of 2 seniors. Let's look at 2 different lives. Mrs. Fatima was 75, living with her son. Her son loved her, but he worked long hours and his children were busy with school. Most of her day was spent sitting alone, watching television. Slowly, she felt forgotten, even though her family was under the same roof. Meanwhile, her neighbor, Mrs. Yasmin, was 74. She too had children who lived abroad. But Yasmin had a strong circle of friends. Every morning she walked with them in the park. In the evenings, she joined a local women's group at the community center. She wasn't rich, but she was never lonely. Who do you think felt more supported? This story teaches us something powerful. Love without presence feels empty. Relationships beyond family ensure that presence is always there. How to build these bonds? You might be wondering, how can someone strengthen these relationships, especially if they're already older? Here are some practical steps. Reconnect with old friends. Call them, meet them, share memories. Old friendships are like gold, they never lose value. Be a good neighbor, offer help, share kindness, and stay approachable. A strong bond with neighbors is built on trust and small gestures. Join a group, whether it's religious, cultural, or hobby-based. Being part of a community gives you a sense of belonging. Give before you need. Relationships grow when you give. Be the one to check on others, and you'll find that same care returning to you when you need it most. Why these relationships matter after 70. The biggest fear in old age is not sickness, it's loneliness. And children, no matter how loving, cannot fill every gap. Friends, neighbors, and community members make life vibrant. They bring laughter, conversation, and presence into your daily routine. Relationships beyond family also reduce the burden on your children. When they know you're socially connected and supported, they feel relief. They don't have to carry the emotional weight alone. So, the third true support after 70 is your relationships beyond family. Children are important, yes. But true day-to-day companionship often comes from friends, neighbors, and community. These bonds remind you that life is not meant to be lived in isolation. They give you joy, comfort, and belonging, the kind of support money cannot buy. Because in the end, a life surrounded by people who care, whether they are family or not, is a life truly worth living. We've talked about health, finances, and relationships, but there's one more pillar that often gets ignored, yet it is the most powerful of them all. After the age of 70, when the body slows down, when wealth feels secondary, when children are far away, and even friends are fewer. The deepest support comes from within yourself, your inner peace, your spirituality, and your connection with the divine. Why inner peace becomes crucial in old age. At 25, the world distracts you. At 40, responsibilities consume you. At 60, memories weigh on you. But at 70 and beyond, you begin to see life differently. You realize that no matter how strong your health, how full your bank account, or how loving your children, nothing can stop the inevitable passage of time in this stage. What matters most is peace of heart. Because you may have a long day with no one to talk to, but inner peace keeps you calm. You may face sickness, but spirituality gives you strength. You may lose loved ones, but faith gives you hope that one day you'll reunite with them. The silent power of faith. Faith, in whatever form you hold it, becomes a companion that never leaves. Children may visit, neighbors may help, money may run out, but your faith, your connection to God, and your spiritual practices are always with you. Prayer, meditation, gratitude, and reflection are not just rituals. They are anchors. They keep you steady when life feels shaky. There's a saying, when the heart is at peace, the body can bear anything. And after 70, this becomes your shield. How spirituality shapes old age. It reduces fear. The biggest fear in old age is not poverty or sickness, it is the fear of death and loneliness. Spirituality transforms that fear into acceptance. Instead of dreading the unknown, you prepare for it with calmness. It heals emotional wounds. Old age brings regrets, things you didn't do, words you didn't say, mistakes you made. Faith and forgiveness help you let go. They replace regret with gratitude for the blessings you did receive. It gives daily purpose. Even when physical abilities decline, spirituality gives you purpose, whether it's reading scripture, offering prayers, teaching wisdom to the young, or simply reflecting. You wake up with meaning. The story of two men. Consider this comparison. Mr. Imran at 75 had wealth and children, but he constantly worried about money, about health, about what would happen after death. His days were restless, his nights sleepless. Despite everything, he felt empty. Meanwhile, Mr. Khalid, also 75, had modest means. But he prayed daily, reflected on his life with gratitude, and found joy in small things. He laughed with neighbors, guided youngsters, and never complained. Even when sickness came, he faced it with calmness. People admired his strength, not of body but of heart. Who do you think was truly supported in old age? Practical ways to build inner peace. If you want your spirituality and inner calm to be your strongest pillar after 70, here's how you can start even today. Develop a daily practice: prayer, meditation, or simply quiet reflection. A few minutes every day build a lifetime of peace. Practice gratitude. Write down or recall 3 blessings every day. Gratitude rewires the mind to focus on abundance, not lack. Let go of grudges, anger, and resentment weigh heavily in old age. Forgive, not for others but for your own peace. Give back. Helping others, teaching wisdom, or volunteering brings joy and purpose that no money can match. Stay connected to faith communities. Mosques, temples, churches, or groups not only give spiritual growth but also social connection. Why this support never leaves you? Here's the beauty of inner peace. It cannot be taken away. Health can fade, wealth can be lost, relationships can change. But inner peace and spirituality remain within you. Even in the darkest nights, they whisper hope. Even in the toughest days, they give strength. And even in the final moments of life, they give you courage to face the unknown. So, the fourth and final true support after 70 is your inner peace and spirituality. Health gives you independence. Finances give you freedom. Relationships give you companionship, but inner peace, this gives you meaning, because at the end of the day, support is not just about who stands beside you, it's also about what lives within you. And when your soul is calm, you realize you were never truly alone. Now the full series is complete. Part 1: Introduction. Why family is not always the main support after 70. Part 2. Health. Part 3. Finances. Part 4. Relationships beyond family. Part 5. Inner peace and spirituality.